Now, look, I've personally seen some lucky people over my lifetime, right? Like, it was only a month or so ago. I was at my own 21st birthday party, and me and a couple of the boys decided to go on the pokies, and I won absolutely all. One of my best mates won 1K, another best mate won 1.3K, and then decided to give me 40 cents because he legitimately felt bad, right? Again, those blokes' luck is about here on the tier level. The Colton Football Club right now are about here. They just scraped into the 8. Again, it was a really, really close game between Fremantle and Port Adelaide, where Freo ultimately lost by, I think, 2 or 3 goals. And again, we know before that, Colton lost by a freakish goal to win the game by Jack Higgins, which nearly made me shoot all garlic aioli sauce out of my private parts on my screen. It was beautiful. But the thing is now, Colton are in the 8, and they have a chance to get Charlie Curnow and a couple of their blokes back from injury. And I think this has kind of led a lot of people to have really different tips and predictions going into the first week of finals. And I, as a chubby 5'8" fat kid who likes to make YouTube videos about footy, thought, why not actually give my complete thoughts and opinions on my tips and predictions with this first week of finals, and just kind of see how we, of course, go from there. And look, I'm going to have different opinions to you. If you guys disagree with me, please don't come and threaten my whole family tree in the comment section, or throw a water bottle at the back of my head. The first game that we've got here, which is going to be Port Adelaide versus the Geelong Football Club at Adelaide Oval. Now, I'm going to be honest here. I have never really been that big of a Port Adelaide fan in terms of them in finals, right? And look, to be fair to myself, I've always been right. Port Adelaide have never really been able to succeed in finals to the point that they wanted to. They wanted to make a grand final or two in the last 5 to 10 years, but unfortunately for them, just haven't been able to do it. But there is one good thing, and that is they continue to make the 8 and most of the time the 4, and continue to give themselves a chance to, actually go and finally get into that grand final. But a team that has had a lot of success that they are playing does happen to be the Geelong Football Club, who statistically are one of the better finals teams, and again, are coming off a premiership from a couple years ago and a grand final a couple years before that. I know a lot of people are going to be tipping the Geelong Football Club, but I'm actually going to be that guy and say that this is one of the first years I think personally Port Adelaide could actually do well in finals. Now, could that absolutely come and bite me in the bum without consent? Fucking oath it could. But I'm willing to take that risk, and I'm actually going to be tipping Port Adelaide to beat the Geelong Football Club at home. I just think their midfield is so goddamn good. It's so dominant. I mean, having a core of Jason Horne-Francis, Connor Rosie, Zach Butters, Ollie Wines, Travis Boak, Willem Drew, etc., etc. Like, so many great midfielders there. I just think they're really going to catch Geelong on the ropes here and actually beat them. But again, there's always the chance, Port Adelaide, again, they have been known to not exactly do that great in finals and have let me down the few times I have backed them in. So, you know what? I'm trusting my gut this year, which is a pretty fucking big one. It's about a new my 600-pound life kind of big one at this point. And I'm going with the Port Adelaide Football Club. And as I said, I think they could go well in finals this year. Now, at the G, we have the Western Bulldogs versus the Hawks. Now, this one is an interesting one because I think a lot of people are going to be going Hawthorn, and I'm going to be honest here, I'm probably going to have to agree with them. Like, if this game was at Marvel Stadium, I probably would have backed the Dogs in, but because this game is at the G, and with the Hawks' momentum and just how they play right now, I low-key think that's going to catch Luke Beveridge off guard, and I really do think they could come away winning this game. Now, do I think they're going to go very far in finals? I'm not exactly too sure yet. I know there's some people already booking them in for the grand final and whatnot. I'm not exactly too sure if I personally agree with that just yet. But what I do know is Their team is currently on fire. They're pretty stacked. Again, they are also very, very young. So with the Western Bulldogs having that finals experience, they could easily come out and beat them. But to be honest, I just don't think the Hawks are shy. I don't think they really care too much that it's finals. And we know they can play on the big stage. I mean, they beat the Tigers in front of 90,000 people or something in Dustin Martin's big game that had Tom Lynch returning. Again, they were able to take care of the Tigers quite easily and really embraced the huge crowd that was there. And again, they've done this all year. They don't seem to be scared of the crowd. I'm going to be backing in Hawthorn. I think they'll get the job done against the Dogs. But yeah, I think, if anything, that's going to be probably the most interesting game, I think, of finals this week, which is really cool to see. We have now the Sydney Swans versus GWS Giants at the SCG. Another really good game. The two Sydney rivals, again, GWS have historically had a really good record against the Swans. And to me, this is the hardest one to tip. This is the one where I'm literally changing my mind as I'm like talking about this right now. This is really hard. Again, as I said, the Giants have in previous years had the knock on the Swans, but I think that was when the Swans had a bit more of a slower style before John Longmire really put in this massive like pace and space fucking NBA style system proficiency they've got going on. I know that the Swans have been not in the greatest form as of late, right? But I do think, for some reason, just because this is at home, even though I think there's a chance that even though GWS could lose this, they could still progress further than the Swans. I'm not exactly too sure. I still think the Swans should get over the line with this one. They rested Isaac Heaney. They've done a couple of things like that. They get another week to kind of like rejuvenate. I think they got really tired towards the end of the season, but I think going into the finals now, they should be able to get that speed back. And I think John Longmire will come with a plan to beat the Giants, especially in finals this year. It is going to be interesting, don't get me wrong, but I do think I'm going to back in the Swans to ultimately get the win against the Giants. And that's scary to say because I don't know if that's going to get up. If I was you guys, I probably would tip the Giants. I don't know. This is definitely the hardest one to really go about. And then we got the Brisbane Lions versus Carlton Football Club. And I know it may sound like I was hating on Carlton at the start of this video, but let's be honest here. I'm just taking the piss. You know, I got a mate who's a Carlton fan, and yeah, I like to bully him about them suffering sometimes. It's pretty funny, I'm not going to lie. Then he bullies me too because my team, the Tigers, are fucking 18th. So what are we going to do about that? My team's not playing in finals. His is. So, you know, he may be pretty happy with that. But the reality is this is at the Gabba. I mean, the Brisbane Lions took care of them last year. I think the Carlton Football Club is going to be so much more weak in this game. I don't know who's going to get up and who's not going to get up. They've literally got like 6 or so really quality players out right now, and even if only 3 get up, that it's still going to be a significantly weaker team than last year. And even though Brisbane have been so inaccurate in front of goals, like that's realistically the thing that is going to stop Brisbane from winning this game, is if they are hella inaccurate at going for goals. So We'll definitely have to wait and see. I know Brisbane's team is technically like missing a couple players from last year as well, but I think they really replaced those guys. Like their depth just really proved. They found guys like Kyle Lohman, etc., who have done really well. While Colton have definitely struggled much more in that aspect, they didn't find the guys that Brisbane did, and I do think Brisbane should realistically take care of these guys at this game. So this is going to be a really interesting round of footy. I'm going to be like so fucking intrigued to see how this all goes. I just realized technically, other than the Bulldogs versus Hawks game, I kind of backed in the home team, but I do think the home teams should get this done, other than maybe Sydney. That's a scary game for me. I think the Giants could easily win that. But of course, if you haven't already, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Comment your thoughts and opinions down below. What do you guys think of the first week of finals? Let me know all of your tips and predictions down below and whatnot. And yeah, subscribe to my gaming channel and my RL/Loan channels. Links for them down below. And I guess I'll see you guys next time.